What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. You know, love, it is Pulsemetrics, and today we're going to be reviewing the top 100 NFL players for the 2024 season. Well, top 50 I would say, because you know there are 100 guys and nobody wants to see this for at least like 40 minutes. So we're just going to give you guys the top 50, and in a second short I will give you, you know, the top 50, the second half, but we're just gonna review the higher half of the top 100. But anyway, quick disclaimer as usual: if you disagree with anything I say, anything at all, there probably will be some hot takes in here. But please make sure to leave a like on this video and make sure to subscribe. We're on the road to 500 subscribers. I usually say that at the end of the video, but I'm saying it right now. We're on the road to 500 subscribers, so if you can subscribe, every step helps me out a lot. So thank you, guys, and let's get into the video. Cue the intro. Alright, so here we are at, as you can see, NFL.com, and starting it off, we have Rashawn Gary, linebacker for the Packers. I mean, I agree with that. Derrick Henry, 49. This is way too low for him. He should be at least inside the top 20. 48 for Jared Goff, up 18 spots. I respect it. Aiden Hutchinson, up 41 spots. He was that low to begin with, but anyway, I do respect it as well. Antoine Winfield Jr. wasn't in the top 100 last year, but now is this year. Very well respected. Last year, he had over 6 forced fumbles and 4 interceptions total. However, I do not agree that he is higher than Jessie Bates. I think Jessie Bates is undoubtedly the best safety in the entire league right now. 45, we have Ja'Marr Chase. I think that's a fair position for him. I mean, he had kind of a down year last year, but the Bengals should be better now that they have Joe Burrow back. Demario Davis, 44. I respect it. Again, some of the most tackles out of any linebacker. It says here he's going to be playing as an outside linebacker. I always thought he was a middle linebacker. Next we have Kyle Hamilton, who wasn't in here last year, but now is this year. He's a safety. I don't agree that he is ahead of Antoine Winfield Jr. Matthew Stafford is up in 42. I respect that. He had a really good year last year. Well, mainly because he has some of the best receiving duos in the entire league with Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp. And then at 41, we have Lane Johnson. I think that's a respectable spot here. He stayed the exact same rank as he was last year. I think that's a very good spot. He's starting to age a little bit. He's not really as good as he used to be, but he's still one of the most dominant offensive tackles in the entire league. You know, not naming you know who. Alright, now kicking off number 40 to number 31. Next we have Davante Adams. I think this is a little too high for him. I don't think he should be ahead of Ja'Marr Chase. By no means is he higher than Ja'Marr Chase. 39 Joe Burrow, that's a little low too. I think he should be a little higher. I know he got injured last year, but we have to admit, the last time he had a healthy season, he recorded for over 4,300 yards, 35 touchdowns. So he's a very dominant passer when he is healthy. 38 for Sauce Gardner, way too low. Way too low. He should be at least like inside the top 20, if not higher, because we all know that he's probably the best corner in the entire league right now. 37, we got the big guy, Quinnen Williams. I think that's a very fair spot for him. One of the most dominant defensive tackles. Overall, back-to-back, we have Jets defensive players. I don't think that Sauce Gardner should be below Quinnen Williams. We have Tua Tagovailoa at 36, went up 46 spots. I mean, I get that. He had some of the most passing yards. Well, he had literally the most passing yards out of any quarterback and threw 29 touchdowns, but you put him in the playoffs and he's nothing but a bum. I'm sorry to you Dolphins fans. All right, next up at number 35, we have Josh Hines Allen. I always thought it was Josh Allen, but hey, he barely had his name changed. His 17.5 sacks, trailed only behind TJ Watt. I mean, I really like what he did last year for the Jaguars. I mean, I think that's a very respectable spot, well, considering he had the second most amount of sacks last year. 34, Jordan Love, perfect spot for him. Not too high, not too low. Had the second most amount of passing touchdowns last year, only behind Dak Prescott. And some of the most yards, with counting for over 4,000 yards, and a couple. I mean, and he was a decent runner last year. So I definitely respect 34 for Jordan Love. It's the first time he's been in the top 100. Puka Nacua at 33 and Quincy Williams at 32. There's no way that Quincy Williams is ahead of Quinnen Williams and Sauce Gardner. I get it. He had some of the most tackles last year by any linebacker, but I mean, Sauce Gardner can you really blame him? Sauce Gardner was injured for most of the year. And then Puka Nacua, I mean, I think that's a respectable spot for him. He broke the rookie receiving record with 1,486 total receiving yards and 6 touchdowns. I think that's a good spot for him. DaRon Bland at number 31, perfect spot for him. 9 touchdowns. 9 interceptions. 5 of those were pick sixes. That is a record for NFL history. I love that the respect that they gave him. DaRon Bland is definitely one of the best corners in the league. I don't think he's better than Sauce Gardner, though, at least if Sauce Gardner's healthy. Alright, and now we have 30 to 21. Starting with 30, we have Deebo Samuel. Ooh, that is way too high for him. I mean, he only had 800 receiving yards last year. I mean, I get it. He could run at an effective level, but he's never going to break 1,400 yards. So, like, why do you still bother? Like, see right here. Only 892 receiving yards and only 60 receptions. He's not even the number one receiver on his team. By no means should he be higher than Brandon Ayuk. Khalil Mack, 29. That's fair. He had 17 sacks, some of the most in the league. Definitely going to be a future Hall of Famer. Brock Purdy, 28. Again, love the respect. 31 touchdowns, 11 interceptions, 4,280 yards. Had some of the highest passer ratings, only behind Dak Prescott in the entire league. Kyle Shanahan's created an offense where a dead horse can throw for over 30 touchdowns. Nick Bosa fell 23 spots from his Defensive Player of the Year campaign. Last year he was number 4, and this year is 27. Honestly, he really had a down year. 2022, he had 19 sacks. This year he only had 10.5, which is way low. That's not like Nick Bosa at all. 26, Mike Evans. Love the respect they gave him this year. Broke 1,000 yards, 1,255 to be exact, 79 receptions, and 13 touchdowns while sharing some of the targets with Chris Godwin. 25, Jalen Ramsey. Okay, that's respectable, but should nowhere near be higher than Sauce Gardner or DaRon Bland. At least right now, he's aging. He's aging at this point, and he still makes Pro Bowlers. He's a 7-time Pro Bowler to be exact. 24, Dexter Lawrence. I respect that. One of the best defensive tackles in the entire game. I don't think he should be higher than Quinnen Williams, but what can you do? 23, Amon-Ra St. Brown. I think that's a very respectable spot. You could make the argument that he is higher than Jamar Chase, but I'm just going to say that 23 is a respectable spot for him for now. He broke over 1,500 yards last season. All right, and number 22, we have Penei Sewell. I, again, really love the respect that they gave him. Don't really think that he should be higher than Lane Johnson right now. I mean, we'll have to wait and see what happens this year. And then 21, A.J. Brown, I like it. He had kind of a really down year last year. Still broke 1,400 yards, but only had 7 touchdowns to last year's 11. I think that's a little bit of a downgrade. But still, one of the most dominant wide receivers. You could make the argument that he's higher than CeeDee Lamb. I personally think he is, because CeeDee Lamb just had one better year than A.J. Brown. Everyone's glazing him like he'll always be better than A.J. Brown. I don't think so. I think corners would have a much easier time covering CeeDee Lamb than they would have covering A.J. Brown. I mean, and it's obvious. All right, and 20, we have C.J. Stroud. I big respect that they gave him, but I'm sorry. This is one of the hot takes. That is a little too high for him. I mean, he had one good year. Okay, but can he do it again? I mean, I certainly think he can, but for now, I would put him between 40 and 31. I would not put him ahead of Joe Burrow at all, for now at least. 19, Roquan Smith. Yes, love it. One of the best linebackers in the entire league. 18, Justin Jefferson. I don't agree with this at all. I think he should be way higher. I think he should be inside the top 10. I mean, yeah, he got injured, only played 10 games, but he still broke 1,000 yards. That is what a big of a monster that Justin Jefferson is. I entirely disagree with this and think he should be way higher than 18. Same with here. Micah Parsons at 17. No, should be way higher. He could play every position on the field, including, linebacker, defensive end. Hell, he could even play corner if he really wanted to. Had 14 sacks, 17 QB pressures, 300 pass rushes. One of the most dominant defensive ends. I agree that he should be higher than Nick Bosa, but again, 17 is way too low for him. Dak Prescott 16. I think that's a very fair spot for him. Had the highest completion percentage, highest passer rating, and most touchdowns, and was close to most throwing yards, I think, and made a campaign for himself for the MVP, which made sense. He was doing good. The Cowboys had a winning record with 12-5. I think that, you could have made the argument that Dak Prescott should have won MVP. All right, and now we have Jalen Hurts at number 15. This is going to be a very hot take. Sorry if I'm biased, but I think that this is a little low for him. I think he should be like 11, maybe even top 10, because I know he had a down year, but we can't act like he didn't have the second most amount of touchdowns by any quarterback, especially since he had a higher amount of passing touchdowns and rushing touchdowns this year than he did last year. So we can't act like that Jalen Hurts still didn't have a good year, and more throwing yards. 14, George Kittle. I love the respect. He is by far one of the best tight ends. Probably, in my opinion, second best tight end to you-know-who. 13, CeeDee Lamb. I'm sorry, I think that's a little low. I think him and A.J. Brown should switch spots, because CeeDee Lamb is not better than A.J. Brown. I'll keep saying it. Josh Allen, number 12. All right, I like it. For now, he is higher than Jalen Hurts, because Jalen Hurts has the second most amount of touchdowns. This guy had the first. 29 passing touchdowns, 15 rushing touchdowns. Made a campaign for himself for MVP, and throwing for 4,306 yards and rushing for 524 more yards, and that's insane to me. And then wrapping up before the top 10, we have 11, Fred Warner. Respect to him. Best middle linebacker in the entire league, while having 132 tackles and 4 total interceptions and a sack. Yeah, Fred Warner, he can do it all. All right, and now getting to the top 10, ladies and gentlemen. But now at number 10, we have Max Crosby. Very respectable spot. I thought they were going to do him dirty this year, but they didn't end up doing so. Had 14.5 sacks, 50 QB pressures, 31 QB hits, 23 total tackles. I think that's a very respectable spot. If you guys saw my award predictions, I predicted that this guy was going to be the Defensive Player of the Year. He's the leader of that defense. I think number 10 is a very respectable spot. And then number 9, we can't have the top 10 without adding the best tight end in the league, Travis Kelce. Everyone's like, oh, he had a down year. I get that. But Super Bowl. Beat George Kittle in Super Bowl. Nothing else to say. Travis Kelce, best tight end. May have had a down year in the regular season. Put him in the playoffs. Best tight end who ever existed. Well, besides Rob Gronkowski. All right, and now at number 8 we have T.J. Watt. I think that is very low. Let's see. 36 QB hits. 19 total sacks. We could go on and on. Even at an interception for a defensive lineman. 50 QB pressures. Averaging almost a sack per game. It's just, there's nothing that TJ Watt cannot do. This guy is everywhere on the field. He has the best stats out of any edge rusher. There's no way that he should be number 8. I think he should at least be inside the top 5. 7, Trent Williams. Okay, yeah, I get that. Best tackle in the entire league. 11-time Pro Bowler. Hey, he's still 36. Have one of the highest blocking grades at 92.5. I think that's a very respectable spot for him. Chris Jones at 6. I think that is very low. Very high. I think him and TJ Watt should switch. I know he had the highest stats out of any defensive tackle. I get that, but we have to be realistic. There's no way that he's a better defensive lineman than TJ Watt. All right, number 5, we have Myles Garrett. Way too low. I think he should at least be 3 or 2. Because obviously he won the Defensive Player of the Year last year. 14 sacks, 30 QB hits, 37 QB pressures, 17 tackles for a loss of game. And then, as I mentioned, the Defensive Player of the Year, best defensive player in the entire league. Honestly, it's not even close. You can make the argument for T.J. Watt, but Myles Garrett should at least be inside the top 5. He shouldn't be smack in the middle with 5. And now at number 4, we have the biggest disrespect in the top 100 NFL players history. Patrick Mahomes takes the 4th spot. I've never seen a guy this season that has made it more clear for the number 1 spot in the top 100 ever. And again, like Kelce, he had a down year. This is the only time you're ever going to hear me defend the Chiefs. They won the Super Bowl. You put him in the playoffs, he's the greatest player you ever seen, besides, of course, Tom Brady. And we can't act like his stats weren't good, too. Again, yeah, 14 interceptions, but still broke 4,000 yards, 4,183 to be exact, 27 touchdowns. That was some of the most in the league, believe it or not. And it's just like, it's just madness that you would put the king, Patrick Mahomes, the king of the quarterbacks right now, yes, the king of the quarterbacks right now, this low at 4. And the disrespect continues. Number 3, we have Christian McCaffrey. No, he should take the number 2 spot. It should be Mahomes at 1, then Christian McCaffrey 2, then Myles Garrett at number 3. Christian McCaffrey should not be number 3. He won the Offensive Player of the Year while having total of 2,000 yards, 21 touchdowns, 7 receiving, 14 rushing. had total 1,459 rushing yards and over 500 receiving yards. He plays 2 positions at once. No. Christian McCaffrey, that is way too low. Yeah, 1 spot is way too low. He should definitely be number 2. Then the number 2, we have Lamar Jackson. You can make the argument that he's number 2, but I certainly don't. I think this is very disrespectful. He should be at least 5. I think, yeah, he should definitely be 5. I don't know. I mean, yeah, of course he won the MVP, but he lost to Patrick Mahomes in the playoffs. Like, I don't get that. I don't get this list. The list was fine before this, but the top 10, man, they really made some mistakes. Lamar Jackson is nowhere near the second best player in the entire league. When will it end? They're saying that a wide receiver, Tyreek Hill, is the number 1 player in the league. I've never seen such disgraceful behavior in my life. As a matter of fact, I don't even think he's the best at his position, much less being the best player in the league. I think Justin Jefferson is the best wide receiver. I don't even think that Tyreek Hill is the best receiver. I just don't like this one bit. Especially, there's no way a wide receiver is more valuable than a quarterback. Especially a quarterback that just won the Super Bowl. NFL, by far, this is the worst list that they have ever made. I hope my opinion can change on Tyreek Hill. No, I mean, I like Tyreek Hill. I'm not saying that I hate Tyreek Hill. And anyone who does hate Tyreek Hill and think he's a bad player, you're just a hater. There's no way matter of fact, Patrick Mahomes beat him in the playoffs. Like, I don't understand the logic of this list. I don't get it. I'm sorry. I hope my opinion can change, but the more I look at it, the more I think that it's really screwed up this year. Alright guys, that is going to wrap it up for this video. Thank you guys for bearing with me. I know it was a little long, but I tried to get you guys the information out as soon as possible. And if you did enjoy this video, please make sure to leave a like and make sure to subscribe. We're on the road to 500 subscribers. Guys, we're at 459 now. This is a fantastic time in history. We're almost there. I know we can get there. I'll see you all guys the next time I upload. Peace.